You know they eat babies. That is not bullshit. It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy.
Hey, Gaffer.
Yes, my friend.
Yete coconelo, pam pam pam, bye 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 bye, pam pam. Yeste le conelo, pam pam pam, lie 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 lie. Yeste le conelo, pam pam pam.
All right, yo. Yes, my friend. I love it. YouTube. Yes, YouTube. Yes. Yes, I'm good back in Senate. Definitely. Yo, this is bad. YouTube.
Thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood. They do, Tucker. Stop staring at me like that.
You're freaking me out, man. Because you spent your life in the entertainment business, so I think you have some authority on this.
Many, maybe most legal systems are based on this idea, this belief in human rights. But human rights are just like heaven and like God. It's just a fictional story that we've invented and spread around. It may be a very nice story, it may be a very attractive story, we want to believe it, but it's just a story. It's not a reality. It is not a biological reality. Just as jellyfish and woodpeckers and ostriches have no rights, Homo sapiens have no rights also. Take a human, cut him open, look inside, you find their blood, and you find the heart and lungs and kidneys, but you don't find there any rights. The only place you find rights is in the fictional stories that humans have invented and spread around. And the same thing is also true in the political field. States and nations are also, like human rights and like God and like heaven, they too are just stories. A mountain is a reality. You can see it, you can touch it, you can even smell it. But Israel or the United States, they are just stories, very powerful stories, stories we might want to believe very much, but still they are just stories. You can't really see the United States, you cannot touch it, you cannot smell it.
I mean, ecocide as a word is becoming better known around the world, and the concept is generally mass damage and destruction of nature. But legally speaking, what our organisation and other collaborators aim to do is to have this recognised legally as a serious crime. Because one of the issues that sort of pervades all of this discussion is that we have a kind of cultural, very ingrained habit of not taking damage to nature as seriously as we take damage to people and property. And that, I mean, you know, if you're campaigning for human rights, at least you know mass murder, torture, all of these things are serious crimes. But there's no equivalent in the environmental space. And so, you know, unlike an international crime like genocide that involves a specific intent, with ecocide, what we see is actually what people are trying to do, what businesses are trying to do is make money, is farm, is fish, is do all of these things that are, producing energy and so on. As well, but what's missing is the awareness and the conscience around the side effects, around the collateral damage that happens with that.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the month of August. And as the gates of August open up, I fully anticipate us seeing some fireworks going into September, heading into October, and then probably explosions in November. And I want to touch on some things that I think are very important for us to understand, because we're still having issues about immigration in this nation, which don't make no damn sense to me at all. Well, what do you mean, James? Why does it make any sense? Because when you come to the understanding, the realization that the entire immigration scheme, illegal immigration, quote unquote, mass immigration, amnesty, is a part of a 4-lane highway with vehicles on it that lead to the foundation of the New World Order. And if we can cause a wreck on one of these lanes on this highway, then it slows down their march towards the New World Order, the satanic system. And to be clear with you, if you ever read the Bible, it was Satan who said he will exalt himself above the mountain of God. He shall be like God. What does it mean to be like God? It means you're going to be everywhere, you're going to see everything, you're going to hear everything, and you're going to know everything. And so these off-world entities, which I will call fallen angels, you can call them demons, you can call them whatever the hell you want. You see, they want to be God because they are traitors, treacherous traitors who think that they can fight God. But the plan that they're ushering in place, that they're moving in place, hinges on certain things. One of those things is illegal aliens spreading all over the world. And once those aliens are there and the crime rate spike and the police are taken away, which is what we went through, and they tried to do it, then they'll call for mass surveillance to say, we need to deal with the crime. We need to use these new technologies in cities because crime is out of control. You got it? You get it? Now let's take a look at what's going on. And they want to break you and break nations in the process. It's important to understand this. And when we start going towards to look at the system that's going to be put in place, because the spirit of liberty is in America and there's a fighting spirit in America, it's a little bit slower happening here. But if you really want to know the truth, you got to go overseas. You got to go overseas where they full on sellouts. And this is what's going on in Europe right now.
So look, let's talk about legal migration as well as illegal migration. We have got some extraordinary figures out from the Office for National Statistics yesterday, and we mentioned them very briefly on the show yesterday, showing we've seen a second bumper year, record year of mass increase in our population, almost entirely down to immigration. Talk us through those figures.
Well, what we've seen is the population rise at a record level for the second year in a row. And the figures that were reported this morning were that the population went up by 700,000 in the year to June last year. These are absolutely unprecedented figures. But I actually think to understand just how unprecedented they are, you actually need to look at the broad sweep of the history of immigration to this country to realize just how unusual they are. So if you look at immigration prior to 1997, in the 24 years before that, when Tony Blair came to power, net migration was only 18,000. Subsequently,
on a year.
No, the total. Whereas if you look at what happened,
the total number of people who came into this country over the people who left, the net migration to this country for 24 years in the period up to 1997 when Blair was elected was just 18,000 people.
Precisely, because we only really get significant net migration after the EU accession states come along and the expansion of the EU eastwards under Tony Blair. So the total amount of net migration in the 24 years after 1997 is over 5 million.
Now, if you've been watching this channel, I told you, we did the video in the late night hours. By the way, I didn't do a late night video last night because yesterday was Bible study and we ended Bible study a little late and I was tired. I said, I'm going to bed. But y'all be back tonight with your late night. Yeah. The midnight train going to be back tonight. But we talked about during the midnight train, we talked about the Tower of Babel and how God decided that he was going to create nations when he separated the tongues at the Tower of Babel. And so, any nation, anytime you have a group of nations come together and say, okay, we're going to be the European Union, they are reinstating and reestablishing Babel. That's what they're doing. Now, the unique thing about it is because the God himself, God of the universe, said we ain't having that. You know it's destined to fail. But, however, it don't mean it's not going to do damage to people in the meantime. and I've said this over and over and over here, you ain't coming here just for news. I can give you breaking news. Breaking news. Hillary Clinton's about to be indicted. Possibly, maybe. Breaking news. Donald Trump said this. No. We get into the real nitty gritty. We get into the meat of it. So we'll understand why it's happening, when it's going to happen, what possibly could happen, and what's definitely going to happen. And so understand, when they decided to do the European Union, that was them reinstituting Babel itself. And now the people come in. And then the consequences of that is violence and different cultures trying to mix together that just don't mix. But let's keep going. Keep going.
And then just from 2021 to now, so only 4 years, it's 3.4 million in what increasingly is being called the Boris wave, because it's the new migration rules active from 2021 onwards. So it's not just the annual figure, it's the scale of sweep up.
I mean, exponential is a word that does need to be used. We often overuse that word. And this was the thing, because again and again, 2010, 2015, 2017, 2019, and again, 2024, voters have said very clearly, again and again, they would like immigration, legal immigration, to be cut. Boris Johnson clearly got the message in 2016 with the Brexit vote, and we weren't saying what we'd not like is more Polish people, what we'd like is the whole of Pakistan and Nigeria to turn up on our shores. I mean, it was quite bizarre, indeed perverse, that Boris wave, where they basically handed out, as far as I can tell, a visa to pretty much anyone who wanted to come to the country, most of whom actually were low-paid, low-skilled migrants.
Or indeed not working at all. So the idea was to introduce a more selective, more controlled immigration system focused on high skills.
Points-based system that Australia had. Yeah, you're an engineer, we need engineers, come on in.
Right, exactly. But first of all, the salary threshold set for the skilled worker visa was extremely low at first, only 26,000, which is below the average salary and not enough to be a net contributor over a lifetime. And secondly, migrants arriving since 2021 on the skilled worker route only 5% of the total. Yeah. So the vast majority of people coming under the migration rules we've had since 2021 are actually not here for the purposes of work. Yeah.
Or they're the spouses or dependents, and by definition not working nor contributing, and the vast majority of those skilled migrants actually often aren't, not vast, but a large number are not actually earning above average incomes, and therefore they're not net contributors, because you have to be earning pretty much well above average income in this country to be a net contributor tax-wise. It is mind-blowing, isn't it? Look, but at least those are the people who've gone through the right system. They've applied, they've been accepted. All credit to them if they want to make a new life in another country and improve their lives and their families' lives. More fool our authorities for thinking that they're going to be a benefit to the British people. But then you've got the illegal migration. We've seen 900 people? I've lost track. 900 this day, 400 that day, coming across on the boats from Calais, border force spending the time, as far as I can tell, just ferrying people to this country. And we've also got more and more concern about illegal migrants and where they go. We've had the concern in Epping at the Bell Hotel, and it's happened across the country, Bournemouth, Norwich and elsewhere, where local people have been protesting for weeks now about people being housed in hotels. We had Isabel Oakshott, international editor, her revelation of a 4-star hotel where people are living in 4-poster beds and getting 3 lovely meals a day and cleaners and goodness knows what, and getting freebies from the local council, and people are up in arms about that. Latest, we've got thousands of people who pack the streets of Waterlooville. They're just north of Portsmouth, down in Hampshire, and they've had anti-migrant protests over a plan by the Home Office, without the permission or the agreement of the council, to move asylum seekers into new flats, 250 grand purchase flat, which are desperately needed by local people. What do you make of the government's policy in this? Because this is a continuation of what happened under the Tories, and people say we don't want them in hotels.
She talk way too much, and don't let her guests talk at all. And I'm gonna tell you something about UK news and American news. You'll notice the difference immediately. American news gonna put beautiful people on TV. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna have that nose on TV, and they ain't about to have that face on TV in America. We just don't do that. Sorry, we just don't do that. Now, we've gotten to the point where we start putting a whole bunch of overweight black women on TV. But even overweight black women, they lose about 20, 30 pounds. There's still some beauty to them, but they overweight. You know what I'm saying? I can't turn on an American news station and find somebody that you would consider to be unattractive. That's just a sidebar note. But proceeding forward, the point I'm making is this. You see, this mass illegal immigration and mass immigration, and from my perspective, we need to cut it all off at this point in time. Everything needs to go. Like, there shouldn't be no more immigration at all in America, and there should definitely be no illegal immigration. And I'll tell you why. This H-1B1 visa where they're like, oh, we need to get engineers from other countries. Nah, screw that. You got ample people here in America that if you just correct the educational system, they will be your engineers. The reason why you're getting engineers from other nations is because here in America, we've taught people that they don't know what the difference is between a boy and a girl is. That was done intentionally. So you can sit there and say, oh, well, we don't have the smart people. No, they're very intelligent people here. They just been dumbed down with fluoride in the water and every other damn thing you could think of, including terrible education systems. And then liberal education systems when they get to college, where they're more focused about race and sex than actually learning anything. When we correct that, we don't need anybody. We just don't. Now, the point I'm making here is that the issue of immigration is a part of the mass surveillance system and the mark of the beast system, and that it's absolutely necessary as a component of the AI mark of the beast system. Now, let's go take a look at some of the things that are going on right now that I think are very important. If you've been with me, I've covered all this stuff. I started to just re-upload an old video where I was talking about it. And I was like, nah, we'll do something new. Because you're only going to keep hitting the same things over and over and over again until we see a resolution to the problem. But watch this. Here we have number one lizard boy, Urinal Havari. His name is Noah Uro Havari, but I call him Urinal because piss on him. But he's going to come out and tell you about the future that they're building. And if you want to understand what's going on, you have to follow the futurists. Elon Musk is a futurist. Peter Thiel is a futurist. And the closest thing you're going to get to a Satanist is always going to be a futurist. Yeah, I mean a real Satanist. Not somebody who's running around, I want the blood, sacrificing babies, let's kill the bulls. No. Those people are ritualistic Satanists. No, these futurists are building the whole entire infrastructure for Satan. And remember, Satan, as a matter of fact, I'm going to take you to somebody after this that can tell you what Satan's doing. Yeah, he's only going to tell you what I've been saying, but he's going to tell you from a biblical basis. But before we go there, you got to listen to what King Lizard is about to say. And if you don't believe they got lizard people, I'm telling you, this thing right here is a lizard. That's a lizard. You can believe me if you don't want to or not, but this thing is a lizard. And if you've been following me, you know something is seriously wrong with this thing right here. I mean, wrong in ways that just don't make sense.
COVID is critical because this is what convinces people to accept, to legitimize total biometric surveillance. We want to stop this epidemic. We need not just to monitor people, we need to monitor what's happening under their skin. What we have seen so far is corporations and governments collecting data about where we go, who we meet, what movies we watch. The next phase is the surveillance going under our skin. We now see mass surveillance systems established even in democratic countries, which previously rejected them, and we also see a change in the nature of surveillance. Previously, surveillance was mainly above the skin, now it's going under the skin.
Embedded in his hand is a microchip that serves as his keys, his ID, and his wallet.
Governments want to know not just where we go or who we meet, above all they want to know what is happening under our skin. What's our body temperature? What's our blood pressure? What is our medical condition?
In a matter of seconds, the chip is inserted. Transformation is complete.
When scanned, all of a person's information about their vaccination status is shown on a reader or phone.
Now humans are developing even bigger powers than ever before. We are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into gods. We are acquiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life.
Worthy is the Lamb, mighty is the Lion.
Humans are now hackable animals.
You will own nothing, and you will be happy.
You know, the whole idea that humans have, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over.
That's over. That's over. And if you've been with me and you've seen when I originally covered this, and we went through his whole talks. I mean, we went through every talk that this man had given as a futurist. The stuff that he was saying was absolutely insane. When they posed a question to him, well, you're saying that humans won't be useful anymore. What are we going to do with all the humans? He's like, I don't know. Occupy them with drugs and video games. Drugs and video games is what the proposal is for the rest of your life or your great-grandchildren's lives. Drugs and video games. And I need you to understand something else about this 4-lane highway. One of the vehicles on the road is this medical tyranny, where they want to have surveillance under your skin and the viruses that they need to use to institute it, right? But here's the other thing I need you to understand. In that video, they showed people who were immersed in a digital world, but yet in the real world. Like when you put on the VR goggles, right? And you can kind of see what's going on around with your VR goggles, but you can also surf and do all these things. But simultaneously, they brought people into this country who are so technologically behind, while your silly behind is walking down the street looking like this. Hold on, let me find that part. While you doing this the image right here. Hold on, let me hit play.
Is the surveillance.
So while you doing this, while you sitting on the bus doing this, oh, let me get this. They got some damn migrant, illegal alien sitting there looking at you. You lunch. And while he exploits and takes advantage of you and robs you or rapes you or murders you, they're saying, oh, we can't figure out who he is. For example, the man who just took the child out the mall. There's no damn reason why they need to ask us to help them find that man. There's no reason. Hold on, let me get it. Hold on. This kidnapping right here. There's no reason. There's no reason that they can't find him. And guess what? They found him. With all the facial recognition and all the surveillance and everything, he should have been caught immediately. The shooting that happened, the mass shooting that happened in New York City, there's no reason. That was allowed to happen. With all the facial recognition technology in New York, with all the crap going on, all the AI, they know these things are happening real time. The phone in his hand that he's holding, they know where he is. There's no doubt about it. Don't believe me? Hold on. Let's take a look at what your actual, all you iPhone users, let's look at what your iPhone is doing. Hold on. This is a person walking on a camera, and the infrared camera is picking up the iPhone, taking facial recognition pictures as they use the phone every 5 seconds. Watch. Click, 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 click. And you paid $2,000 to be surveilled like this. And we know now, based upon what happened with the tariffs in China, that the damn iPhone costs between $10 to $20 for them to create. So not only are you paying $2,000 to be surveilled, but they're taking pictures of you every 5 seconds. Don't believe me? Hold on. Let's go to the girl who tested it. We'll go to her. Watch this.
Wild and crazy Friday night findings. We just discovered, which we already knew, that your phone, an iPhone specifically, takes an infrared picture of you with your Face ID every 5-ish seconds. And we looked at it through an infrared camera, and it's pretty wild. Let's show you. Okay, have your home screen.
It's on the home screen.
Not touching anything.
No buttons.
Okay, infrared lens on the camera. Boom, there was 1. 2. That's so wild. Okay, cover the camera.
Okay.
Oh, there was another one. Okay, nothing. Oh, it's trying. It's taking pictures of your finger. Okay, move your finger. Ready? Boom. Wild. Wild and crazy Friday night findings. We just...
So the whole purpose of the surveillance state is so Satan can have his network. Everybody keeps talking about when the Jesus Christ returns, it'll be like in the days of Noah. They like the fallen angels will fall. Dude, that's when the angels fell. It's so much more than that. It's so much more than that. But nobody wants to just, everybody's focused on the fallen angels. It's way more than that. Hold on. Because if you study the Bible and you actually study with the Holy Spirit, you'll understand that it's way more than that. But watch this. Hold on. Now, I'm going back to Prophet Hubert Angel for this one. And he's getting ready to go into how people delayed their freedom. The Israelites delayed being freed from Egypt because of their decisions. You understand? This realm has been given unto men. The heavens of the heavens belongeth to the Lord, but the earth belongeth to the children of men. And so just like the Israelites delayed their ability to get free from the system of Egypt, we're speeding up our enslavement using the technology. It's important that you understand this. You can delay things and you can speed things up. We're speeding it up. And we're speeding it up out of ignorance because, quite frankly, it's not being taught. Like what he's about to say right now should be being said in every church around the world at this point in time, but it's not being said. What he's about to explain should be explained at every church around the world. So people will get this. And you know, for example, there's a reason why people are like, man, I go to church and nobody's in churches because they're not getting fed what they need to get fed. I can tell you this man got 7,000 people in his church every Sunday. I can tell you Apostle Aromo Size got 3,000 people in church. I can tell you that Michael Aropo can come to America and pull in 10,000 people. Why are certain people, why do they draw men unto them and give them truth and others don't? It's because they're not giving them the whole truth. And therein lies the problem. We can talk about why they're not giving them the whole truth. And that goes into government-run programs with nonprofits. And where if you're going to take this money, you're going to take this credit from the government, you're going to give these sermons that we need you to give. You ain't going to talk about this kind of stuff. Yeah. It's okay. You're going to tell them Jesus is God and his love and all the rest of this. But you ain't going to tell them what we doing. No. You ain't going to tell them about the mark of the beast. No. You ain't going to tell them we building a mark of the beast system. No, you can't say that. Now you're going to lose that full 501(c)(3) status. No. And by the way, we should be thanking Donald Trump because Donald Trump removed that law. The issue now is, can we get people to actually start telling the truth? Watch this.
Brother. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. Yes. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. And I have a whole lot of people saying it's not possible to know the time and the seasons when Jesus is coming. Then I have other ones that just cut a piece of me calculating dates and times and cut and forget I said this statement. That God is not slow, not slack, as some consider slackness. He is not slow, but he is willing that many would get salvation. He is long-suffering in this way that he wants everyone to be saved. And I said that verse is what disturbs the death calculation. Because if God's benevolence will go beyond his timing, he can go over it. Do you understand that the Israelites did not do 400 years in captivity? They did 432, yet the prophecy was on 400.
Yes.
Does that mean God lied when he gave a prophecy? That was correct. But the people delayed the manifestation of their miracle by 32 years. They refused to listen to a man called Moses.
Yes, sir.
Are you hearing what I'm saying now?
Yes, sir. We are getting
Hope you're hearing it. And I'm not talking to you about the date and time of the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. I'm going to do that in a message called The Exact Date of His Return. So that you hear me talk. And you can cut me later on. If he doesn't come back on that day, you call me. Now, are you hearing this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now hear me. Hear me well. Hear me well. Notice what the Bible says. It shall be as in the days of Noah.
Yes, sir.
As in the days of Noah. What were they doing? They were marrying and giving each other into marriages. That means parents would just push. But that's not all that happened. Let's go to the book of Genesis. The book of Genesis. Are you here? Yes, the book of Genesis, chapter number 6. Book of Genesis, chapter number 6, verse number 1 and 2.
Genesis chapter number 6, verse number 1. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them. Verse number 2. That the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose.
They took them wives of all they what?
They chose.
They chose. Notice what the Bible does not say. It doesn't say there was a love affair. It says, and they took wives that they needed.
They chose. Yes, sir.
So they went rampant around the whole earth that was called the earth at that time. Just taking people that they wanted. Where were they finding them? Where were they locating them? Why couldn't they run away? And then we find Noah getting all the animals together, 2 by 2 and 7 by 7, and they are getting in there, and that's a global flood. But it was easy for them to look for these women somehow, some way. They had a network that controlled everything.
Wow. That's something.
And the Bible says the eyes of the Lord go to and fro. To and fro. That means God has an ability to know who is where at any given time. In the whole universe, he has a way to see it. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir. We're getting
He cares about the sparrow. That means his eyes on the sparrow. So the Lord himself has a way of seeing everything he created. The only thing that doesn't have that power is the devil. So when we say God is omnipresent, we are literally saying the devil is not omnipresent. And omnipresent means he is everywhere. If we say omniscient, he is all powerful. If the moment we give the devil a certain level of attribute, we are saying God is not that. If we give God an attribute, we are saying the devil is not that. Yes, so if God is omniscient, the devil is not omniscient. If he's all powerful, the devil is not all powerful. If he's everywhere, the devil cannot be everywhere. Hope we are getting it now, right? And if God is the Lion of the tribe of Judah, 1 Peter 5:8. 1 Peter 5:8. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, is a roaring lion. Notice what the Bible says. He's saying he is not a roaring lion. He just acts like one. He pretends to be what God is. They are not getting this. So he is not a roaring lion. He acts like a roaring lion. He doesn't have the teeth of the lion. He doesn't have the magnificence of a lion. He doesn't have the majesty of the lion. He doesn't have the power of the lion. He is not the power. He's not the force. He is not anything. He's not the king like the lion. But he just acts like one. And not only that, he roars like it. He is not even looking like the lion. He just memorized and internalized the roar of a lion, and he copies the way it sounds.
Wow.
And notice, not that he may devour. No. Not that he will certainly devour. No. Walketh about seeking who he may, not who he will.
He may.
He doesn't even have the power to kill. He seeks opportunities and seeks the weaklings so that he may, by any chance given by those people, he may devour them. Hope they're getting this.
They're picking it.
You're picking it, right?
Yes, sir.
Hebrews 4:13. We're going to be fast. And we get into questions in a few minutes because this one requires us to be asking questions. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Samahuri Kaya ready. Manifesting his side, but all things are naked. Watch this. All things are what?
Naked.
Are naked. And opened unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do. In other words, when we talk about God, everything is open. He knows, he sees what you do. He sees what you're going to do. He knows what you did last week. He knows what you're going to do next week. He knows what you're going to do the second minute. He knows it. But the devil doesn't.
Wow.
I'm going to stop it right there because he's made the point. And as we look at this system that's being built, this system is so they can be like God. And this is the crazy thing about this system that's being constructed. And remember, the whole premise of this was that illegal immigration, the mass spread of people all over the globe, was to help usher in their surveillance system. The surveillance system is a part of the satanic system where men have been fooled to believe that they will be like God, but it's actually these fallen angels and every other thing behind it. I mean, and it's more than just demons and fallen angels. There's demons, there's fallen angels, there's principalities, there's powers, there's mights, there's spirits from the pre-Adamic world. There are spirit cities for the pre-Adamic world, and all these various representations that we as humanity are up against. And that's what we're contending with. Now, if you want to listen to this whole thing on your own, Big Brother, Prophet Hubert Angel, and I always encourage people to go listen to each and every one of these guys. In fact, I'm going to tell you like this. Probably 80% of your time should be spent, like your free time, let's just go upwards of 50% of your free time should be spent learning these kind of things. Because there's value in this investment. And as you invest that time in learning, then the light of discernment opens up. And so when you watch the news and read the news, you see. So for example, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say, Hillary Clinton and all this stuff coming out about Hillary Clinton. If you go back last week, I was doing videos and I was explaining how you know when God's going to judge somebody and how you know when they're going to fall. And I showed you, I said, hey, you think that the person's not going to fall because their horn is exalted, they get pushed up, and then here comes their fall. And when you look at the entire deep state, the past 4 years prior to Donald Trump being in office was that time period where they were just raised up as high as they could possibly be. They were smug, they were arrogant, from Mayorkas to Brennan to Comey to Clapper. They were just arrogant and smug, and you can't do anything. You're not going to stop us. To Joe Biden, to Kamala Harris, arrogance and smugness, and then you watch them fall like lightning falling from the sky. That's what everybody's like. Kamala Harris is doing an interview. Did you see it? No, I don't need to see an interview because I know what's going to happen to her. I already know. And see, once you have that knowledge and that understanding, you can actually consume news and see what's happening, and you don't have to be in any kind of panic. If everybody had that kind of knowledge and understanding, they would say, okay, you know, this Epstein thing, all right, that's not going to go. That looks like it's not going to work, but something else coming. What's coming? Because you know the principles. If you know the principles, then you know what happens to enemies in your life. I know when a man makes himself my enemy, I already know what's going to happen. There's going to be a season where that person gets exalted. And they're going to feel like, yeah, I got him. I'm this. And my job is to keep on doing what I'm doing. Don't even worry about them. And they're going to reach this height. which is the height of where they can go to. And then wham, everything gonna come against them. Everything they built's gonna be destroyed. It's my job not to climb up to that height and meet them up there so I can fall. No, it's my job to stay right where I'm at with the Lord. All right, guys, I'll see y'all on the next video. Hit the like button.